Persinger on the record, and the time is approximately 1:24 p.m. This is the beginning of Disc 1 for the video deposition of Howard Persinger. Would the counsel present please identify themselves and who they represent for the record?
Jeb Butler on behalf of Remington Walden's family.
Terry Brantley on behalf of Chrysler Group, LLC.
Will the court reporter please swear in the witness?
Sir, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
This will be the deposition of Mr. Howard Persinger, taken pursuant to notice in the case of Walden against Chrysler. It's taken pursuant to the Georgia Civil Practice Act and for all purposes under the Act, including use at trial. Please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury your name.
Howard Persinger,
Where do you live, Mr. Persinger?
Fayetteville, West Virginia.
And we are now, as we take this deposition, in the courthouse in Fayetteville, West Virginia. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
The jury will have just met a Travis Persinger. Is that your son?
Yes, sir.
Did you at one time own a Jeep Liberty?
Yes, sir.
Who drove that vehicle?
Well, my son mostly.
Is that Travis?
Yeah, Travis, I'm sorry.
Did there come an occasion where Travis was rear-ended when driving that Jeep?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that wreck, please. Or let me rephrase that. Tell us, please, where you were when you learned that Travis had been in a wreck in that Jeep Liberty.
I was about maybe 6 miles behind him. Me and my wife were coming back from her aunt's, and my wife received the call that he had been in a wreck.
Were you and your wife in the same vehicle or different vehicles?
No, I was on a motorcycle. I've got a motorcycle, and my wife was in the car behind me. Travis had tried to call me, but I didn't hear the phone because of the motorcycle. And once we got on 19, it's a 4-lane road, she swung out and started to pass me with her flashers on, and I didn't know what was going on, and she's driving fairly fast, and I speeded up to stay up with her, see what's going on. And about 4 miles down the road, we came up on the wreck.
I've got a picture here that I've already marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. Take a look at that, please, and tell me if you know what's shown there.
Yeah, it's my Jeep on fire.
Is that what you saw when you came up on the wreck?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what happened when you got to the scene, what you did.
Well, the traffic was stopped. My wife stopped behind the traffic, and I pulled the bike up beside the car, and I seen this smoke and stuff. I still hadn't realized what was going on. And my wife got out of the car and said, Travis has been in a car wreck. Well, the fire truck was sitting there, and I really couldn't see the vehicle. So I couldn't find Travis, so I took off down the road fast as I could. And I looked and seen the front end of my Jeep, the blue part on the passenger side. And I thought Travis may still be in there. Well, one of the city police that was coming northbound on 19 had seen the wreck. And he had been there, and he knew me. I know him pretty good. And he come running up the road towards me and said, settle down, Dad, Travis is okay. I said, where's Travis at? And he said, he's sitting on a guardrail, and I walked down to the guardrail, and there he was.
Okay. How long did the fire burn for?
I would say, guessing, well, I don't know exactly how long it burnt before I got there, but once I got there, you know, the fire department was getting their stuff ready to put this thing out, and I really wasn't paying much attention because I was looking for Travis. I would say maybe 2 minutes.
Was the whole Jeep on fire or just part of it?
The most of the Jeep was on fire except for right at the hood and the front fender. What I could see, you know, the rest of it was just engulfed. You know.
Did you ever see the Jeep again after the fire had been extinguished and your Jeep had been towed from the scene?
Yes, sir, the next day. Yeah.
I'm going to show you 3 other photographs. These are marked Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, Plaintiff's Exhibit 3, and Plaintiff's Exhibit 4. Take a look at those, please, and see if you can tell me what they are.
This one is the Jeep, yeah. And yeah, this one is too. Yeah. Yeah, they're all 3 in my Jeep.
Okay. You mentioned that there was only one corner of the Jeep, I think, that wasn't burning. Is that the Can you see in Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, that only corner that wasn't burned?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's it.
I'd like to get you to look now at Plaintiff's Exhibit number 4. Right there.
Okay.
When you look at that picture, does it appear, based on your recollection and as it's been refreshed by that photograph, that there was much crush to this Jeep forward of the rear axle?
No.
Did Chrysler ever find out about this wreck?
Well, I called Chrysler. I'm not exactly sure how long it was after this wreck. I know it laid on my mind for a long time. I thought, maybe there's something I can do about it. They need to know about this. Because in a bad situation, if, there would have been an elderly person or a little kid in the back of this thing, they wouldn't have knew what hit them. So I called them. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure how many days it had been. But I did talk to a man from Chrysler, yes.
And I remind you to look at the camera because the jury's going to be looking at that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know it's normal to look at me since I'm asking you questions.
I'm sorry.
And with respect to the last response, I'll just object to the responsiveness of it and to the extent it contained speculation and conjecture.
All right, well, let's hash that out then. What part of it, I don't remember the entirety of the answer, to what part do you object specifically?
The entire answer, because it was premised upon what could happen if other persons were in the vehicle who we don't know what would happen.
Well, let's talk about notice then. Mr. Persinger, you said that you called Chrysler, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, why did you call Chrysler?
Because I did not want this to happen to nobody else.
What did you tell Chrysler when you called Chrysler?
I don't know the man I spoke to, but I did tell him that I was calling about the concern of my son getting in an accident with a Jeep Liberty. I said he got hit in the rear end. I said it wasn't that bad of an accident, but the Jeep blew up, and in a matter of minutes, this thing was gone. And I said, you need to have your engineers or somebody look at this problem, because it could have been really bad.
Did you tell Chrysler what could have happened?
Yes, sir.
What'd you say?
Well, I just, like I said, he said, I'm speculating. Well, that's what we do.
Let me ask you again so we get a clean question and answer, just so that, because we'll end up cutting a lot of the objections from the record, so when we do it.
Right.
So the question is, Mr. Persinger, did you tell Chrysler what could have happened?
Yes, I did.
What'd you say?
I told him that if there was an elderly person, seatbelt in the back seat of this Jeep, or if a kid was in a car seat or strapped in there, I don't see how they could have got out of there. And just like I told him about my son, if this thing would have rolled, which it very well could have, and you can see in the pictures, it wasn't that far from a guardrail. If he couldn't have got that driver's door open, he would have been burnt.
I want to show you now what I've already marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 5. Yeah, there's your copy. Take a look at that. This says at the top, Customer Assistance Inquiry Record, parenthesis, CAIR, close parenthesis. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Now, if we look down under the lowermost bold line, there's a number 1, and it says, who is calling and what is their contact information? And then there's a name. Is that your name?
Yes, sir. That's me.
Under that is, there's a phone number. Is that your phone number?
Yes, sir.
If we look up at the top of this document, there's I guess the second line, there's a box that says open date, and then it says October 11, 2011. Now, you said you didn't remember the exact day, but does that appear to be around the same time frame in which you called Chrysler to tell them what had happened to your son's Jeep?
Yes, sir, I think so, because he wrecked, I believe, in September. And I called Chrysler 2 or 3 weeks maybe after. Like I said, I thrashed this around my head, didn't know what to do, you know.
Does this appear to be some kind of record of your call?
Yeah, yes, sir. It seems to be, yeah.
Number 2, that we looked at number 1 and saw your phone number. Right after that, there's a number 2. And tell me if I've read this correctly. It says, what happened, question mark. The caller states that his son was involved in a wreck. The caller states that the vehicle was hit in the rear and the vehicle burst into flames. And the vehicle was burned up in 4 minutes. The caller states that the vehicle was burned completely before the fire department arrived. Did I read that right?
Yeah. I mean, what hadn't burnt on the Jeep was what you see in this picture right here, because the rest of it, I mean, the flames were pouring out all the windows and everything.
And you just pointed to Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, is that right?
Yes, sir, yeah. That's the part I saw when I got on the scene.
Now, what did Chrysler tell you? Did they say that putting the gas tank next to the rear bumper was a problem, or did they say it wasn't a problem? Did they say they were going to look into it?
Object to the form of the questions, compound.
That was very compound. I will re-ask that question. I'd like to know, Mr. Persinger, about what Chrysler said to you. For instance, whether Chrysler said that putting the gas tank near the bumper was a problem, whether they denied it was a problem, or whether Chrysler said that they'd look into it. So the question is, what did Chrysler say?
Object to the form of the question, improper hypothetical.
The man said he'd look into it, that he would have his people look into it.
Did Chrysler ever get back to you?
No. Well, yeah, they sent me a letter. I don't know exactly how long it was after that.
Did anyone from Chrysler ever come see you?
No.
Did they ever call you back on the phone?
No.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 6. Is that the letter that you received from Chrysler?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah.
And I will read the second and last sentence in what's sort of the middle paragraph. It says, well, I'll just read the whole middle paragraph. Chrysler Group LLC conducted an investigation into the incident and inspected the vehicle. The inspector found no indication of a manufacturing defect that caused or contributed to the incident on August 13, 2011. Is that what it says?
Yes, sir.
Did Chrysler ever in any way accept responsibility for that Jeep catching on fire?
Not to me, they didn't. No.
Mr. Persinger, are you being paid to be here today?
No, sir.
Why are you here?
Well, I've heard about this little boy that got killed, and it's terrible. I hate this, and he's in God's hands now. And no matter how this thing turns out, either way, it's not going to bring that little boy back. But my intentions of even contacting Chrysler to begin with is to keep this from happening to somebody else. Something needs to be changed here, fixed. It's a ticking bomb.
No further questions.
Mr. Persinger, my name's Terry Brantley.
Mm-hmm.
We met for the first time just prior to us starting these depositions
Yes,
today.
sir.
I do have a few follow-up questions.
Okay.
I understand you purchased this vehicle for your son,
Yes, sir.
and I also understand this vehicle was purchased used.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of whether it was involved in any other motor vehicle accidents?
Not that I know of.
Did you conduct any kind of investigation or attempt to determine if it had been involved in any accidents prior to purchasing it?
Well, the man I got it from King Cole. They're a reputable dealer around here, and they got it in on, I think it belongs to the service or the sales manager's father-in-law, and I bought it from. He traded for something, and I bought it from them.
And I understand you bought the vehicle in 2008?
I'm not sure, probably.
Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right, I guess.
And while you owned the vehicle and prior to this accident, did you have any problems with it? other than just having to perform routine maintenance and that type of thing?
No, just yeah, just routine maintenance. Well, one time it wouldn't start. Something in the computer. That was the only problem I had.
Did you make any type of modifications to it? Bigger tires or
No.
lift, anything of that sort?
Nope, everything was stock on it.
Do you recall if the owner's manual came with it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever sit down and read that owner's manual cover
Yeah.
to cover?
Yeah, well, not cover to cover, but you know, I read.
If you needed to find something,
Oh, yeah.
you'd look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. But otherwise, you wouldn't sit down and read it cover to cover? would
No,
you?
no.
Was it involved in any other accidents other than the one that you've talked about with Mr. Butler?
No, sir.
And to your knowledge, it was in the state of West Virginia during the entire time it was being used?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you ever inspect the undercarriage of this vehicle?
Well, as far as inspecting, no. I usually change my own oil. And when the vehicle got 3,000 miles on it after I purchased it, you know, we were going to change oil. I went and got a filter and stuff. And I told Travis, me and him changing oil. And I was looking up underneath it, and I said, man, that gas tank, I said, that's a plastic gas tank. I didn't know it was plastic. And I said, that thing is right in the rear end of this thing, and ain't nothing protected but a plastic bumper. And I told him, I said, boy, you don't want to get hit in the rear end of this thing.
Did you do anything else?
No, that's all I do, change oil.
Are you aware whether what you call the plastic gas tank, are you aware whether that's the type of material that most manufacturers use to make their gas tanks?
Well, no, I know. I'm old-fashioned. They used to. They made them out of metal, and that's what I thought they were all made out of metal. I didn't know they was plastic.
Objection calls for speculation.
What
Vague.
what type of vehicles do you own now?
I got a 2000 Chevrolet Silverado, and I got a 2014 Toyota Venza.
And what type of vehicles have you owned in the past?
Mostly Chevrolets, you know.
You ever own a Chevy Suburban?
No.
Okay.
Chevrolet pickup trucks. I had a Caprice Classic,
What year? Caprice Classic.
78. And then I had a 75 CJ5 years ago.
Did you like that vehicle?
Pretty tough. It didn't last long because I did abuse it.
You were pretty tough on it?
Well, I was tough on it. It was a hunting vehicle, and that's what I done with it.
Okay. You recall the years of your Chevy pickup trucks that you had?
64, 80, 92, and 2000. My 2000 got 150,000 miles on it. I like to get the good out of one.
I understand. Did you ever inspect the undercarriage of the Jeep Liberty after the accident?
No. After the accident, it was at the junkyard, and they wouldn't let us. There wasn't no sense in us looking at it. You know, it was on the frame. And
You never attempted to determine if there was any damage to the undercarriage between the axles, did you?
I told Travis, you know, I really didn't pay no attention at the wreck, but once we got to the salvage yard, I said, I want you to look at the back of that Jeep. It don't even look like it's been hit.
Did you ever get underneath the vehicle and see if there was damage between the two axles under the vehicle?
Couldn't do that.
Okay. See. Now, did you pursue a property damage claim for this vehicle against the driver of the Park Avenue that struck the rear of it?
I let the insurance company handle it. I don't know what they did.
After you got the letter from Chrysler that's been previously marked as an exhibit, did you call Chrysler?
No, I called them before I got this letter.
Okay. But after you got the letter, you didn't call them again?
No, I didn't figure there was no sense in dealing with it, you know. They didn't find no problem, so I assume there is a problem, but they don't want to admit it, so
Object is non-responsive.
whatever.
Did you ever call Chrysler after you received that letter?
No, sir.
Do you have any background in automotive engineering?
No. I'm an old coal miner, but I know right's right and wrong's wrong. You need to fix something.
Well, my question is, do you have any, have you ever worked or been educated as an automotive mechanic?
No.
You told me you own some Chevy trucks, pickup trucks. Do you know where the gas tanks are on those?
In the middle,
Do you know where the gas tank was on your CJ5?
in the rear end,
Your Caprice Classic?
I'm not real sure. But the Jeep had 8-inch channel iron bumpers on it, and the frame, a steel frame around this gas tank, and it was metal.
Different vehicles have different designs.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yes.
Yes, they do.
Okay. And you understand Jeep Grand Cherokee is different than a Jeep Liberty?
Well, you know,
They're different vehicles.
I know they're different vehicles. I don't know what the difference is.
Have you ever owned a Jeep Grand Cherokee?
No, sir.
Those are all the questions I have. Thank you, sir.
No questions. Thank you much.
All right.
Time is 1:45. We're going off the record. This concludes the session.